All right, this is one of the stage 4 races of the IndieVelo Grand Tour. There are 10 stages total. I'm sorry, 10 sessions of each stage. So they are stacked up all across the different time zones to give everybody across the world a chance, which is a great way to do it. It makes things interesting when you have a single GC battle or the points battles, but that just adds an element of tactics and choices to make about when you race and what you're racing for. It's been pretty interesting. So I've got, not racing this one, I'm just using spectator mode, and I've got teammates in pens 1 and 2, most likely, maybe pen 3, we'll see. Certainly pens 1 and 2. I'm going to focus on pen 2 today. I think there'll be some other streams of pen 1. I wish I could go back and forth between them to kind of see what's going on, but the way that technology works now, I'm limited to picking one in the pen. So I have to actually pick a rider in the pen I want to target. And I think I'm on Christine. So there's no name here, but I'm pretty sure that's her. She's on our team and is the women's GC leader. So I want to recognize that. Good for her. And I think she'll be in the yellow jersey as one of the category riders. So we'll find out. Pen 2 has had some really interesting races lately. There's multiple pens. They're all assigned by activity or ability levels, so they're evenly matched, which makes it some pretty exciting racing. Let's see who's look at the course real quick. So it's the Little Loops course, 3 laps, 3 times up the velodrome. You start in the velodrome, halfway down the neutral zone ends, go around South Lake to the first sprint point, and then up the velodrome 3 times. Points available on the second and third time, the third time being the finish. So it didn't take long. It's about a 35-minute race, I think. There you see some of the notes from the organizer and how the points work. Sprint points, climb points at number 2, and the finish. So this one, the sprint points are available at the first one on the flat around South Lake. The last 2 sprint points you see are climb points. So depending on what competition you're going for, you may or may not care about one or the other. So you can see my teammates popping in. Well, we're going good going, guys. 2 minutes left. Let me just look at the signups real quick. So a lot of new names coming in this whole thing, which has been great. Sometimes I can't tell between bots and new people because I don't know the names, which is interesting. Just flipping through these very quickly. Bowder is in there, so Moonrider is one of the top teams. They'll have strong presence. There's Liam. He's in with No Pins R3R, one of my teammates. Fantastic. Christine, there she is. Dan is in. I just saw him pop in. Evan, Fred, Gary, and Steven too. Excellent. Okay, that'll be a very interesting first pen race. And a large French team. The host of this is Toto, who's on this same. There he is, Toto Lee Koala. He's put on this event, so he's getting great team support for him too. Great turnout. A lot of new people. Boy, a lot signing up just in the last few minutes. So, all right, let's see. Oops, I missed the window. I'm in pen 3, and I have missed my team entirely. I was on the wrong rider. Looks like I was following Catherine Lynch, assuming that was my teammate Christine. So I'm. Let's see if I picked up anybody from my team. We're going to stick with this. I doubt anybody's recording pen 3, so that'll be a different perspective. Anyway, others are. Well, there's Mike. So he's. We know Mike. I'll be able to follow some of these guys. So this will be interesting. Team Lou is in there. Fabric, Volunteer. Good. All right, there's some humans we know here. So we'll follow pen 3. That's what we got assigned, and see how this goes. So it's a neutral start. In fact, let's go up to the pace bot. 50 riders in this. Here's what the pace bot looks like. It's just a bot that's programmed to go from one power to another over a certain distance or speed to kind of give everybody a running start on this. So you don't want to pass the pace hurdles. You get braked. You might see some people scoot past it and then shoot back through the pack if they push a little bit hard. So it's just a way to get everybody a kind of a fair rolling start. It's become more popular for the organizers to use. It will peel off here very shortly at the 800 meter mark. You can see we're coming down to it. It's been interesting to see it on the down slope. So it's kind of a nice idea. It gives everybody a head start. Oh yeah, so watch this rider. There it goes. Let's see who that is. Delagote. It's a human rider. Must be overshot a little bit and shot out the back. So here's the end of the neutral zone. So the pacer's turned off. Everybody's free to race at this point. So we'll just kind of follow some of the front riders. There's Adam Morgan. So let's keep an eye on Adam. Mix of humans and bots on these teams. There's a few things you can tell by the way the names are, like Pascal RGT. That's not a bot name. That's clearly a human name, so you can pick him out. Adam Morgan, we know. Noel is in. So there's quite a few humans in this one, actually. Prit is in. So there's actually a large number of humans in this group. So that's good. Let's see how pin 3 makes that. It should be competitive because they're all matched by ability, which is great. So everybody's been getting really good racing at whatever level you are. So the next interesting thing to happen is that first sprint point. That's the only sprint point where green jersey points are available. Let's see what happens here. There it goes. That's probably a bot, I'm almost certain. They'll do attacks off the front. You have to decide if you want to follow or let them go. Sometimes they can maintain pretty well and you can get a breakaway going with them. Other times you chase them down, then they slow down and you've burned a match and are right back in the group anyway. So it's not always an obvious decision to go with. So it's already kind of stretching out the field. Some riders you can tell are following. There's some minor gaps forming already. Let's see if that holds. So that bot is already slowed down, but there goes another one. Which, again, I'm going to assume these are bots until proven otherwise. Probably spot on 100 RPM, maintaining 99. If they're that consistent, usually. But it's dropping off. I might have that wrong. I was wrong yesterday, so I'm going to stop claiming I know. It's either a strong human making a breakaway or a bot. We don't know. It doesn't really matter. They kind of race them the same way. You don't know what their capabilities are, if they're good sprinters, TT, or climbers. Let's see what the damage looks like. Already there's some groups breaking up, including some humans that are back in group 3 and 4. It looks like the peloton's kind of coming back together. So this will break up a lot over the climbs. This little climb coming up is just a bump. It's not too bad, but it sets you up for the sprint banner coming on the descent. So if you can punch over this and stay away, that's great. It's risky because you can also get swamped by the group behind you. So let's see how make out. So quite a few humans in that group 2 coming along. So let's look at them. And they're catching the front group. 7-second gap back to the peloton, and only 14 of them. So if they're looking for sprint points, this is their whole game. They'll save everything for the sprint. 50 points available for the first across the line. And then they can sit in, work for teammates, whatever they like to do if they don't care about GC time. Others in this race will care about GC time and not so much the sprint points. It makes it interesting tactically how you approach these races. watch him punch over this hill. It's not hard, it's short, but you'll see riders pushing over it. It's a little risky. You almost want to stay in the group to be able to use the draft down to the sprint. The sprint is in 650 meters. You can see it's a 4% grade. So some people are going for it. Let's keep an eye on Mike on the front. That's what's come behind. That could work if he can stay away. Otherwise, that group comes, he'll be swamped with 400 meters left. So if he's got a good long sprint, this is a good tactic. He's got power there. 300 meters. He's just getting passed up, and now he can sit in the draft. That might hold. You look at the speeds. If he can catch and pass in the last second, he'll be in good shape. But either way, he's going to get good points through this sprint. So well done. Here comes the other bots. Let's see if they catch. Or riders, I should say. Ooh, that was close. Mike just got second there. Well done. All right, let's see how that split up the group. So it kind of shredded. The guys going for the sprints, and there's some bots mixed in there too. And humans really stretched out the field, opened up some gaps. So let's see if they come back together. You can also work on the front. If you want to try to push and keep this group off the front, you can do some work. Let's see what's going on in the front. Don't know this rider. Could be human, could be bot. It's also hard after you sprint to get back on a threshold level effort to be able to keep up with a bot like this. But it can really pay off if you can do it, because you can open a gap that can't be closed. Let's take one more look. So now they go back to the coastal road, which is flat until the velodrome climb in a very short distance. Maxime continues to push. That's a gap, an 8-second gap, and you can see the speeds. It's maintaining that gap. So let's see what happens. It'll probably be split up even more on the velodrome climb. Ten seconds now. The braking corner, you can see freewheeling into the corner, and now put the power back on. Let's go back to the group, see who's working on the front. So there's no points available until the second velodrome climb. So they've got quite a ways to go. So you have to decide what you want. Are you after time? So you want to probably push on the front, try to keep things fast, maybe coordinate and chat. See if you can get a partner to help you take turns and make the group fast. Even if you take other people with you, you won't care because you just care about time if you're after the GC battle. If you're just care about the sprints, you're kind of done for the day already, but you got to finish the race for them to count. Maybe you've got a teammate or some other objective. If you're after the climbing points, the sprints you care about are 2 and 3. 10-second gap to this, so we've got 6 humans. I'm sorry, I don't know if they're all human actually. Most of them are in this group. Might be a bot or 2. And there's other humans back in the other groups. So some of them are catching up. Yeah, looks like they're coming together. That'll make them a little bit faster, but it'll probably split up a little bit once they hit the velodrome climb. It's not a hard climb. It's fully draftable fairly fast, but it's about 60, 90 seconds probably, I guess 90 seconds to get to the top. Depends on how hard they're pushing on the front. You can be dropped there for sure if people are really pushing hard, but they've also got 2 more ahead of them, so sometimes people will hold back a little bit waiting, especially since there aren't points on offer here. They're starting to bring back the gap on Maxime, so likely a bot that's maybe a TT bot, good on the flats, not so good on the climbs. They're bringing him back. There's Adam. I know Adam is a human, so we'll stick with him and watch him for a second. The other two I suspect are bots up ahead. Chris Horton, also human. So Adam might be more interested in overall time or even the sprint climb points later. If you can split this and make a small group going for that stays away, of course, your chances of leading at the next two KOM points are higher, right? So it benefits you to try to break things. So clearly he likes this climb. It's going off the front. It's a long way to go solo. But if he can stretch things out just to make a small group, even that's a nice tactic. I raced this yesterday. It's kind of what we did. We had a 3-person breakaway. Even though I wasn't after sprint points and climbing points, they added up because we split them between 3 of us rather than me being back in a bunch of a fast group. So I was slower on the day overall, but got more points in a smaller session. And that's a good time up this. He's faster than almost anybody else coming up, so he's gaining. He's got 5 seconds on Reinhold, who is also a human. Chris Chapman also. So the first 5 in this list are humans, and there are more just behind as well. So let's see what he does. If he waits up or goes for it. Let's look at the Reinhold coming along behind. It's always tricky this far out how you want to spend your energy. If you're a really good climber, real confident on the velodrome climb, you can of course wait to the end, just stay in the front group and then blast past everybody at the finish. You don't need to worry too much and do a lot of work in the intermediate kilometers. But if you're not, you might be better off thinning the group a little bit. Maybe that's what Adam's trying to do. Or he's after just time. Maybe he cares about a GC battle. So you don't know the motivations of the riders unless they're sharing in chat, which we can't see. All right, so those two are coming together. Let's see. Let's watch Mike for a minute. See if he's catching up. So watch his draft. See, it's 29%. That's the big number in the center, 30%. So he's getting some draft effect from Reinhold up ahead. So he's in the draft. He can spend the same watts and slowly reel him in. But you want to definitely stay in that draft. There's quite a strong benefit. You feel comfortable once you're in the draft that you can catch. And indeed they did here. So they've got a group of 10 up front. A group of Dave, of 2 with Dave Lancaster just a few seconds behind. Let's see how right. What that's looking like. Oh, good. He's catching up. So that'll make that group strong. Delagut is also, that's a human, is also catching up. So this group now is going to be strong. 11, 10, 12 person group. So that's going to be difficult for the group behind just because their size and there's riders working on the front. So that's a challenge for that chase group. Oh, this is kind of a sick feeling because you're so close, but if you're tired, it looks like he's not closing anymore, and it looks close, but it's really hard to reel that in, especially you can see them working on the front. So that's not a good feeling, especially if he's, I don't know where he is on his, or his, what zone he's in right now, but if he's got something in reserve, he can still push hard to catch. But if you're on your limit at this point, it's just so painful, and it looks like it's kind of going away from him. So at this point, maybe you can wait up in the group behind and work with them. You have a decision to make pretty quick. So tantalizing and close, it's much harder to get there than it looks like, though. Let's see what it looks like back here. So they're pushing pretty well. There's Pretty's in there, so you can see them in the distance. Let's go back to the helicopter view so you can see them up ahead. Those don't look like big gaps, but they can be so hard to close without a lot of effort and some teamwork. All right, back up. Let's see how. Oh, he's holding on. Let's see if he can get there. So he's in the draft. He's 15, 16%. He's got these little bumps, which, depending on his rider style, may hurt or help him. Hopefully he can get there. There he is. He's got more draft now, so he's getting more and more in the draft. That's going to help. So him and Tim are in there, but he's going to have to push through Tim. The two of them work together, maybe. Oh, they're teammates. Okay, excellent. I didn't catch that. So Tim dropped back to help him. That's good team tactics. Let's see now between the two of them if they can work back up to this group. That's interesting to see. They're 6 seconds off now, according to this timer. But so there's Tim. He's sharing pulls. It looks like that's good. It looks like they've got some left in the tank. So look, both of them will catch and have some time to recover before the next velodrome climb. That's the action we're going to stick with here. They got 13 seconds on the group behind, so I think they're holding there. So much help to have a teammate. We've been in this position before. Just even 15-second pulls, you can take a break behind, recover, get your breath a little bit, you work a little bit. It's just so much faster if you're able to work together. And they're starting to close again. There's no wind in this event, so that could help or hurt them at this point. But let's see how much draft they're getting. So that 2% is interesting. That's draft from the rider behind, actually, at this point. You get a slight benefit in draft, just like in real world. If you have a rider right behind you, your profile to the wind is a little different, and you actually get a little bit faster the way the wind comes off of you. So that matches real world physics. So it's nice to have it's not much, but over time, it's often like a 3 or 4% benefit, so it can help. Now, those riders are getting away from them at this point, so somebody's working on the front. Let's see. So sometimes you'll do that. You'll see riders behind, and it's a race, so you'll push. If you're interested to keep the group smaller, that's racing. It's harsh because they're gapping the other two. Maybe if they're really good climbers, they'll be able to make it up on the velodrome climb. That might be the easiest place at this point. There's Mike pushing over and Chris Wharton. So with guys pushing this hard on the front, it's going to be very hard for that group of two to catch up at this point. They're going to have to wait for the climb, or else they'll be in a chase group to the end. So there's no sprint points or anything to go for at this banner. Just basically preparing yourself for the KOM points on the climb to the velodrome. Now, this is kind of interesting. Let's see if they've got themselves a little breakaway that might stick. We've got a little gap. Again, it's interesting to see the draft. So here's the front rider coming in, full draft. Let's see the gap to the next one ahead, 75. So you can see once they get into 50% draft, it's pretty easy to close at that point. But they did drop a rider. That's a tough way. They must have lost a little bit over that punch, lost the draft, and they're out. See, they have 0 draft at this point. So if they can catch, if Tim and Delago can catch this rider and work with that, it may help them later. This rider's moving pretty good, so it's tough being out in no man's land. It's about the same pace as the group ahead. That 5-second gap is, again, didn't look like much. Although they don't seem to be working too hard on the front at the moment, so usually riders will prepare for the climb knowing it'll be hard and catch their breath, get their heart rate down. Oh, that was a strong push. Good for him. That was that he closed that 5-second gap I was talking about. heart rate isn't too high. You don't know what people's max heart rate are, so maybe there's a lot in reserve there for that rider. But so this group, he's got 23 seconds now on the group behind, which came together with Brits. 23 seconds is a lot to make up. So, well, we do have 2 climbs left, but there are some strong riders pushing the pace in this one. It's likely that the winner is going to come from this group. With only 11.4K, 22 seconds, it could be a lot unless they're really working together and hard on the back, on the front of the second group, I mean. Let's go take a look at that group. Well, there's some good humans in here, so maybe if they work together, take turns, treat it like a TTT. They can still come back. So we'll watch that time gap, 22 seconds. Keep an eye on it. If it starts to close, we'll move back and check the other group. So you can also work with bots up here. If you treat them as a TTT partner, you do a 15-second pull, let them pull for 15 seconds. You can be faster than you would if you just sat behind some of these bots. And even better if you share the work with some other people in your group. So you can chat with your group locally, see if you get any willing confederates to help with your efforts. Most likely be the people who care about GC time, their GC position. They're interested in working together to be fast. They may not care so much if they have any climbers they're dragging along to the finish, but would appreciate some cooperation for sure. So Adam did a very fast climb last time. Let's see if he leads up this one. This is the one where he broke away for a couple seconds. Kind of pushing the pace. Looks like it's Chris Horton's turn to try that. So he may be interested. There are King of the Mountain points up here. I forgot this is the second climb. So if you're interested in the polka dot jersey competition, this is the one this is the first of the 2 that you're going to be interested in. You want to be first across the line here. You can tell by the color of their numbers, their speed numbers on the right, that they're pushing hard. They're not just sitting in there at threshold, and you can see them go red. They're actually above threshold. So this is the turn that for me always gets hard. You feel like you're getting near the end, you turn, and then you're still climbing, getting near the top of the turn, but there's more, and you're getting tired. And this is the hardest point of this climb for me anyway. Looks like behind, we'll watch this, who takes this King of the Mountain point first, and we'll watch Tim. Looks like he's jumped ahead of his group. He's trying to close. Hopefully he'll be able to bridge up. All right, they're going to find out in 500 meters who cares most about the KOM points. There's Adam pushing hard. Arno right with him. Reinhold there, Chris Chapman, Mike, Chris. So it's halfway around the velodrome. That's where the banner is. 320 meters left. $500-watt sprinter there already. Adam right behind. Let's see if he can catch. Adam's in the draft. Let's watch Adam sprint. Go, go, go. Perfect. He's timed it perfectly. Well done. Max points for the KOM banner at sprint 2. jumping back real quick. Oh, it did split the group up a little bit. Look at that. So that, oh, sorry, that push at the end, I thought I was going backwards. I apologize. I wanted to catch Tim's. He started to gain. He's up there, but he looks like him with the two teammates are still working together, but they've lost a little bit of more time. The group ahead who is clearly going for the KOM points. So this is interesting. Let's go back up to the front. They split the groups. It was 10, and the guys that were really pushing for the points have split. It doesn't look like they're hammering the descent. It looks like they're going to sit up and wait. It makes sense. If you're confident in how fast you can climb the velodrome and then sprint. That's a pretty tough ask. You have to climb for 90 seconds and then sprint. If you're good at it, you can sit in and be confident you can overcome the riders in the group who will be more tired. But it's not a bad strategy. These guys just showed they're fast at that banner. So rather than burn all our matches between now and the next climb, we may as well wait up and do it again. All right, let's see. There's Chris. So this group is working to come back. Chris and Chris, two humans, teammates again. It's great to see team tactics, teammates working together. So these three are human. See how well they share the work to close that 5-second gap. It doesn't look like they're pressing hard in the front, so they should be able to get back. See what it looks like from the helicopter view again. So that group of 11 or 10, whatever it was, split up. Shattered a bit at the banner, so it's interesting. 4 seconds now, but you can see the speed. Chris is working hard to close. He'll have no problem with that. So now he's into the draft, 18, 19, 20%. Gets easier and easier to close as you start to pick up draft. So those three will make it back. Then we'll see what happens if they continue the work to try to stay away from the chase group with Johnny Colorado and 2 other riders, or do they sit up and wait for them as well? Stage 4 in 3 days, so there's a lot of tired legs in all these sessions. So they continued to work. They didn't just go sit on the wheel. So they're either going to be interested in keeping the group small to better their chances for KOM points at the end, or going after time, which is the GC is based on the individual GC. There's also a team GC with the top 3 teammates across all sessions. Fastest 3 add up, and that's what your team score is based on, your team GC. So the only things that are points based are the sprint jersey competition, who gets to wear a green jersey, and the KOM points competition where the leader wears a polka dot jersey. The other categories are individual GC, team GC, couple of age category. Except for team, the individual GC categories get to wear a cool yellow jersey for while you hold the leader position. It's automatic when you jump into the event. Your name is automatically signed by the event organizer, and you pop up in a nice leader jersey. It's very cool. All right, so we're down to this group of 7. It's definitely working on the front. Let's see, that's Mike. You can tell by the color of his number, his velocity number. He's working hard. He's staying on the front, and his numbers are colored. So he's putting effort in this to try to keep the speed high for his GC hopes and his team points. I think these are all human in this group. I know most of them, and I can tell by the way a couple of them are riding that. I didn't know that. I think they're human. I'm not positive about Dave Lancaster's credit to the platform that you can't really tell. Even as many times as I've raced with these bots sometimes, especially now with so many new riders coming in with names they don't recognize, and they're all assigned to the teams with humans, so it's actually pretty tricky. But the way Dave's riding there, I think he's human, so fun to have a human breakaway. They've got 10 seconds on the group behind. Let's see how they hold up. So this is the last pass of that little punchy climb. Swing around South Lake again. And gear up for the final climb up the velodrome, the finish, and the last KOM points. They've got 4.6 kilometers left. Yeah, Mike's putting in a fine effort today. And that's his fourth race in 3 days. So well done, Mike. Everybody. They put a little bit of time into... Here they are. They're coming right back. So it's a little bit of a danger that people punch over that climb, and if you're not prepared for it, or you're not a kind of a punchy rider for city, you can open up that gap. But he's in the draft, and there's no problem. So let's go back. So Bet Sand Price is pushing on the front. Pretty sure she's a bot. She's too far back to be getting draft. Ahead, a little bit ahead of the rider behind her to get a little touch of draft behind. So there you can see she picks them up from the riders together. So if they stick together in a TTT pace line, they'll be slightly faster. But the gap is growing ahead. It's going to be tough for them to catch until the climb. And if they go all in, you might see that close. But credit to this all-human group up here that there's different people working on the front, which is great to see. So they're still cooperating, but of course they're in a race. So at some point it switches from cooperation to competition. It's always an interesting, what keeps things interesting in these races. So we've seen Mike working on the front, Adam's working on the front, Chris Horton, him working on the front. We haven't seen some of the other riders. That means they may be prepared to sit in and attack the climb for the win, or they're just on their limit and just, happy just to hang in there. So you don't know until you find out. Often we race people we know well, so we kind of know who has what capabilities. But this event has been so big, a lot of us are racing against new people we don't know, so it's interesting. That gap has grown to 16 seconds. I don't think we'll see them again come up. There are only 2.9 kilometers left. And this group is pushing hard on the front. So I don't think they'll let the other group come back. They would probably push if they start to see it. For all of them, it's all in their best interest to finish as a group rather than let the group get larger, right? Their chances of scoring points or gaining time it's better if they just continue to push at this point and work together. But on the climb, all bets are off. It'll become every person for himself. Although there are a couple of teammates in here, so it'll be interesting to see. There are 4 from a certain team. I hadn't picked that up. So the HINL team has 4. For some reason, I was thinking there were just 2. And that's interesting. That opens up doors for them if they are willing to do 1, 2, 3 attacks, force the other guys to chase. The others are all solo riders, so it's 4 on 1 on 1 on 1. Missed the most important race feature, that there are 4 from a single team in this front group. When they came back together, I didn't catch it. It's easy to say 1, 2, 3 attacks, but when you're tired, it's a whole other thing to actually do it. So you have to watch that if you're one of the single riders like Adam and Mike and Reinhold to follow, but you can't follow them all if they do attack. But it's sort of the responsibility of the team with 4 here to make the pace high. They're starting to close a little bit, maybe 15 seconds behind, kind of holding that gap. But we're about on the final climb 1.7 kilometers left. Third time at the velodrome, so they know it well. Have that half lap, 250 meters around the velodrome to the finish. So we'll stick with this group. So hopefully the team is on race radio. They may or may not be. We don't know. Sometimes different teams are. We saw Dirt do it earlier. They're all on race radio and coordinating their effort. Let's see. There's Chris on the front. Pushing the gap is starting to close a little bit. If they're really strong climbers, really blast this climb, that can actually close. Again, here's what it looks like in helicopter view. They're splitting up a little bit. That's closable for a very strong climber, but it's a hard way to go. You got to kind of watch that. There goes Adam now. We saw him do this on the first climb. We know he's fast on this climb and a strong sprinter. So we'll have to see what he decides to. There's the 1K flares. There's Reinhold on the front. Now we're finally seeing Reinhold come to the fore. Chris Chapman now. And it looks like they've shut the door on the group behind. So here we go. We've got 850 meters left, and Chris decides he's going for it. Now is he going solo long, or is he doing it for his teammates? He's forcing Reinhold to chase. So if you're not on his team, you're left with the dilemma. Do you wait for somebody else to chase? His teammates won't chase him. They're forcing the hand of Adam and Reinhold by Chris going this early. Good team tactics. Now here comes Arno. He's chasing his teammate down a little bit. Maybe that's planned. Oh, if he can bridge up without taking the others, that's a good thing. But if he drags up competitors, maybe not so good. There's only 400 meters left, so maybe it's every man for himself at this point. Let's go up to see if Chris can hold on. He's got 280 meters left. He's looking pretty gassed. Here comes the bunch. Let's see if he can hold it. His teammates coming around him. There's Adam pushing hard at the end. Okay, the HINL tactics looks like they work by stretching that field out, tiring Adam's legs. And they came in very strong finish. Those team points, that's a little different than the way they'll be calculated for the event, but it shows how strong that team was in this particular race and their finishing points in the sprint and the 2 KOM banners. So anyway, it's interesting to see Pen 3. Takeaways for me are, frankly, sometimes Pen 2 and 3 are more interesting than Pen 1. I usually end up in Pen 1, and lately at flatter course because they've just been big bunches. We've had some 34 out of 50 make it to this final climb together. In stage 3, that's what happened. So just a big Wattfest. Nobody can get dropped. There are too many strong riders in a sense. So it's maybe not as interesting tactically as some of the Pen 2 and Pen 3 races I've seen. Like in this case where you had breakaways, decisions to make, team tactics. So but that's a good thing. A credit to the way the platform and the pens are working. You don't know what pen you're going to be in. It depends on who signs up. At that 1 minute mark, everybody gets assigned. Look at the abilities and the algorithms kick in to assign people to pens based on the matchmaking, who's there. So it tends to do a very good job, especially if there are enough. Once there are enough people in these to spread out between pens, I've seen it's been working really, really well. So so that was interesting. That was an interesting race. They had some different tactics going on. Credit to those guys that worked hard. They had a good race. I'm sure that was enjoyable for Pen 3 too. So instead of just lumping everybody into one giant race, we have elite racers at the front and scattered behind. Matchmaking can make some very interesting races. We get good feedback from my teammates racing in Pen 2. So, and this race was evidence of that. So now I need to go figure out what happened to my teammates in Pen 1 and Pen 2 since I missed their race, not knowing which pen I was going to get assigned to. But it was enjoyable watching this one. So I'll get it posted. There might not be any many streams or recordings of Pen 3, so this might be kind of unique for people to see, I hope. All right, thank you for watching.